Alright, so this thing finally showed up a few weeks after I ordered it. They weren't able, or they were just planning to not ship it until the little solenoid relay came in, because I also ordered one of those. But I was like, dude, you're not going to let me know that it might take an extra month before you can ship it. So I had them cancel the relay, and they finally got this thing out. If you don't know what it is, it's a knockoff of the Fogbuster. So I think it's like about $170 or so. And it's supposed to do what the Fogbuster does, but the Fogbuster is like $500. So far it looks pretty well made. I just started unpacking it. So these are, instead of using a Venturi to suck the coolant up and blast it, this pressurizes the tank. So I got one of each tank. They have a polyethylene and I don't know, maybe polycarbonate, but they said alcohol and cool mist will eat this tank away or make it crack or something. So I wasn't sure which coolant I was going to use, so I just ordered both. I think it was like an extra $25. But anyways, it pressurizes the tank, and then you can control the airflow. And instead of using a Venturi, which sucks the fluid and blasts it out, causing like mist and a lot of the mist in the air, which I guess is probably bad for your lungs. This is supposed to reduce that effect. So yeah, let's keep going. It's got a mounting bracket, some tubing. This is double tubing, so there's two tubes stuck together. And then I also ordered some extra tubing. Not sure if I'll need it. Let's see, how do we get this thing out of here? Come on. Holy cow. I will say their box is pretty nice, but this big mag base is pretty heavy. It was bouncing around, and when I originally glanced in here, it was kind of smashing up against these two nipples. So hopefully those are not broken. Let's see. Oh yeah, they look okay. This is an aluminum nut. This is plastic housing, but this big old nut is actually aluminum. So another tube down in there. Bunch of speakers. Came with some screws, probably for the mounting plate. So we'll be able to mount this thing somewheres. I'm probably gonna follow, Tormach has instructions on how to mount the actual Fogbuster. So I'll probably just try to follow that as closely as I can. Without hopefully having to drill too many holes, because I don't like drilling holes and stuff, especially machine tools. There's no going back after you drill a hole. But yeah, shouldn't be a big deal. Yeah, let me see. So this is the coolant I'm planning on running. Trim SC520. I did a lot of research just on forums and stuff, and that seems to be one of the more popular coolants. I've never used a coolant, so I really don't know. And then here's my fancy smancy Amazon relay. So this is a 110 volt dill, very similar to the power drawbar relay. It's a little bit different, but both are 110 volts, so I should be able to wire this thing in. Either, I kind of wanted to daisy chain it to the actual coolant, but I don't know that I can, so I might have to disconnect the flood coolant and connect it to this one. But this one came with some fittings, and let's see, I also ordered some extra air hose. This is just a 1/4 inch air hose and fittings. I think I went with nylon, or no, polyurethane, I don't remember. It was the more flexible one, but man, this stuff feels pretty cheap, but it also was pretty cheap. I think this was like $15 or something. Came with a bunch of fittings. Probably won't need very much of any of it. Hopefully that's a 1/4 inch fitting. I guess if not, these are 1/4 inch. So yeah, got its own little regulator. Alright, I'll figure out, well, let's open this thing, see what this guy looks like. I don't know how they get away with copying Fogbuster's design, unless their patent has run out. But I mean, this is the exact same concept of the Fogbuster. It's a nice little mag base. It ain't no Noga, but it feels pretty nice anyways. So, yep, alright, let me see where we're gonna mount this stuff. I'll bring you all back. Alright, so I think this is about where I'm gonna put it. Just gonna bolt her right on the back of here, so here's my mount. So because I have this solenoid, it's a little different than what Fogbuster used. The Fogbuster one, I think you can mount straight up from this face here. Mine you cannot, so this should be fine. I'm just gonna put it right here, kind of right next to the regulator for the drawbar. That way I can kind of run the lines, kind of like zip tied to each other and try to keep them neat. And then I will mount the actual sprayer right next to where the flood coolant line is, right there. So it'll be a pretty straight shot. They do say to try to mount it about level with the sprayer. I think if you mount it higher, the fluid can siphon out, and if you mount it lower, maybe it'll pour back. But it did come with a one-way check valve, so I guess mounting it lower shouldn't really be a big deal. But yeah, I think, let me set it right there. I think having it right here will be probably the best place for it. Kind of out of the way. So I believe that P is the air in, and the reason I believe that is because this one, P is the air in, and then there's A and B. So I'm pretty sure one of these sends the air to the power drawbar, and one of them releases the air. I think, I'm not 100% sure, but it's similar with this. So I have a P, so I'm pretty sure that's the air in, and it didn't come with any directions or anything, so I might have to look it up to confirm, but I think that's air in. And then I have letter A. I think that's the air out, so it's gonna come out here and then into the regulator. And then R, I believe, is the same as B on this one, which is exhaust or air coming back in. So I might have to plug that one. For now, I just put this little filter in there, and I'll see what it does once I get it all plumbed in, but I might have to plug it. Someday, I do want to figure out a way that I can just have both of them and have the option. I'm not going to do that though, because I'm not going to use this flood coolant. I really don't like how the bottom of the chip pan is flat, because when you're on the flood coolant, it doesn't all drain. You end up with some high and low spots where the coolant just sits, and this thing is going to probably sit for weeks at a time sometimes. And when I bought it, there was just so much dried on, caked on coolant. Not just in the bottom of the chip pan, it was, but all over like the way guards, they were just chock full of dried up flood coolant. It was disgusting, and I'm really hoping the Fogbuster will work well enough that I don't have to use the flood coolant. It is good to have flood coolant, But where I'm just doing like one-off parts, I don't need flood coolant. I'm not trying to run the machine as fast as possible. So I really don't need the flood coolant. I'm sure it's better than the Fogbuster, but I can just run the machine a little bit slower and keep an eye on it. And chips build up, I'll blast it with the air blaster. I'm thinking this will be the best route for me, where I don't want to have to wipe the whole machine down every time I use it to keep flood coolant from drying up and getting caked on everywhere. Alright, so ran first little test. Seemed like it did fine. I just disconnected the coolant pump, plugged in the solenoid, and hooked up the lines the way I thought it would go. So this is my line for the power drawbar, and I just cut it, put a T in, or a two-way splitter, and I'm running one right into the solenoid, out of the solenoid, into this regulator. The only thing I'm not sure of, I've got leaks all over the place because I haven't put any Teflon on these yet. So the only thing I'm not sure of is if I need the air regulated before it goes into this. I think I saw somewhere on Amazon where I bought this to not exceed 30 PSI or something. So I'm not really sure. Otherwise I have to put a regulator somewhere in between here, and then another regulator on top of this regulator, on top of that regulator. It's kind of a lot of regulators. So I might, this is cheap, I might just see if it holds up to 125 PSI or whatever this compressor puts out. But yeah, it seems right. I hit the manual coolant on button and air comes out of here. And when I turn it off, air stops. This little red light lights up when I turn it on. It did make kind of a humming sound. Kind of noisy. Not sure if that's normal. It's a little bit loud. Yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing. Wonder if I can maybe move it over this way. It's the way it came. Shouldn't make a difference though. And yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, I don't know why it's so loud. I wonder if I should have just done a 12 volt and then run like a wall wart transformer, kind of like they did with the power drawbar. Power drawbar, that's a 12 volt solenoid up there, and then it feeds this guy that takes 110 volts but drops it down to 12 volts. So yeah, I don't know. So the only thing I can think of is right on the face of this where the wires go in, and then this plugs into the solenoid. Right on the face there, that looks like a plus symbol. Right now I have the neutral going into that one, and the ground into this one, which that's a ground symbol. So I wonder if I just have positive, negative backwards. I did positive on this side. There's two wires because this was a 4-wire conductor, and I just combined the two wires into the hot side, so it's just double thickness. Dumb, don't need to do that. Not sure why I did it, just figured it wouldn't hurt. So right now this is positive, blue is neutral, yellow is ground. So I wonder if just swapping them, I didn't notice this before, and I couldn't find a schematic, so I just slapped them on there. But the reason I did it that way is because this little LED, there is a diode or resistor. I don't remember what that is. I think it's a resistor, right? I would have figured that would be on the hot side, but I've definitely been wrong before, and I am no electrician. So I'm going to try swapping these two wires, and maybe that'll make the humming go away, because it actually did start getting warm. I left it on for a couple minutes and it got not hot, but it's warmer than I think it should get. So I'm just gonna swap these real quick and give that a whirl. All right, so I did have to go back to a regular screen. Really stupid, but I tried to rotate my touchscreen so it was portrait mode. So I made these new mounts to raise it up higher, right here, so that I'd have enough room, and it was dumb. I took this one off. I had the screen laid down on the keyboard right here, and I went to loosen up this one so I could take the old arms off and put the new ones on. I loosened that, oops, and the keyboard dropped, and the new display fell. It didn't fall all the way to the ground, it just fell down, and wah, wah, wah. So yeah, that was a bummer. I don't know why, but I figured I could loosen that, and I just didn't think that it was also holding the keyboard up. So yeah, it got broken. Luckily, it was only 50 bucks, but I did order a new one off of eBay, so the new one ended up being 70 bucks. So I'm into it now, 120 bucks, which is a bummer. But yeah, anyways, moment of truth. Yep, not humming anymore. So these are polar sensitive, I guess. I just swapped the ground and the neutral. Wish I would have noticed that, but you would never see those symbols unless you unplug that. And I never would have unplugged that if I hadn't jiggled this and noticed that it could unplug. So kind of dumb. But yeah, humming is gone. Be kind of careful. Those are hot. And yeah, it actually feels cold to the touch now, so that's good. So yeah, moving on. All right, got them all Tefloned up, and let's see. I think that's it. So yeah, I'm gonna throw these in, hook her all back up, see if it works. All right, so we're at about 50 PSI. Obviously this is 0, and I need to re-Teflon tape it, cause yeah, it's upside down. There's no way I can tighten it anymore without breaking it. No leaks at 50 PSI, so that's good. Let's go flip it on. And we can adjust this regulator. You always want to start with this thing all the way undone. So loose means no pressure. Because this you don't want to over pressurize. There we go. Sweet. Cool. So one of these lines is air only, and the other one is fluid. This thing does feel really nice. As much as I really hated having to work with SST, I will say this product does seem pretty well built. Their customer service absolutely sucks though. I emailed them 5 times. I messaged them on Facebook. I messaged them on Instagram, because I never got a confirmation email. I know they got my money, but they never sent an email saying, we got your order. It'll ship in next month when the solenoid comes in. So I kept asking them, are you gonna ship this? Did you ship this? Did you get my order? No replies until finally, about 11 or 12 days later, they finally replied after the 5th or 6th message saying the solenoid we oversold the solenoid. We'll have more in a few weeks and we'll ship your order then. And I said, just cancel the solenoid, send the rest of the order. And I never heard back from them. So emailed them again. So this is like email number 9. It's like, did you get my last message? Are you gonna ship this thing? And then finally, a few days later, yep, we'll ship it. So I was like, cool. So I'll just watch for a tracking number email. And whenever you get some time, refund the solenoid, because I'll just order one somewhere else. Never heard back from them. A few days go by, email them again. I finally got a tracking number after 3 or 4 days after that. And I was like, hey, I see you shipped it. Can you let me know when you can refund the solenoid? I already bought one. I don't need the one that you guys oversold. Still haven't heard back from them. Emailed them again a couple days ago, asking about the refund for the solenoid. It's only $15, but it's just the principle for me. Like, you guys couldn't let me know that we oversold the solenoid, so we're not gonna be able to ship your order for a few weeks. I would have been fine with that if they would have just notified me. But I never even got a confirmation email saying my order went through, other than on my account you can log in and see your orders. So I know that the order went through, but there was just no communication about. And I mean, that's their screw up. They listed an item for sale. I bought the item. They didn't have the item, and they weren't gonna have more of it for a few weeks. So just kind of a crappy way to run a business. But what do you do? Finally got everything I need, and that's what really matters. But I do want my $15 back, so I am gonna keep emailing. I really hate when people do chargebacks. But I mean, what else do you do if the company's just they're just ignoring you? I don't know what else to do there. But I mean, as far as the actual product goes, it looks nice. I would just recommend you can order this just directly on Amazon. The reason I ordered from them was because I know Amazon takes like 30%, so I figured order it directly from them. It was the same price, and they would get more money. They don't have to pay Amazon's fees. But I should have just ordered it on Amazon, I guess. Because it would have been prime 2-day delivery or something, instead of about 2.5 weeks to get this thing. Yeah, anyways, rant number 2 of this video done. Product itself feels great. Yeah, might need to put a regulator upstream of the solenoid. Listen to this. So I brought it all the way up to 125 psi, or whatever the max is for that compressor. Listen. That's pretty loud. I don't know if that's normal. Maybe it is. It just seems a little loud. Kind of a bummer. I'll have to run 2 lines despite having 2 regulators right here. Like, what else do you do? There's no way. I need a regulator in line to bring it down to 30 psi, and then I need another regulator. That's kind of dumb. Yeah, why wouldn't the regulator be ahead of the solenoid? It kind of sucks. Let me think if I can figure out a better way to do this. Alright, got another dilemma. It's just freaking wobbly, no matter how tight. And it's not this. It's this joint here. I have this tight as it can go. See that? There's just no... Why is that? I'm guessing it has to do with being because I have it all the way bent up in the slot. So if I tighten it here, yeah, it's still loose. Oh, it's the actual arm where it connects to the ball. What the heck? Can I tighten? And I can't tighten that. What? What a piece of crap. So, it's like supposed to be threaded, but there's like no threads. So it just falls in and out. I mean, it threads in just a little bit, and then after that, it's just wibbly wobbly. No freaking threads. What a piece of crap. I have to deal with this freaking company again. Gosh. Be another year before I get the rest. Yeah, there's not even threads in there. Gosh. I wonder if I should. Anything to not have to deal with these jokers. Jokers, I tell ya. That's gotta be the stupidest thing I've ever said. It's up there. So, couple options. I can machine off this threaded area and re-thread it bigger, and then tap this for the bigger threads. That's probably my best option. It looks like they tried to just jam it in with Loctite. There's a bunch of Loctite globbed all over it. But yeah, there's no threads in there. Wow. That's kind of a joke. Let me see how hard this steel is. And see if maybe I can just tap it and then cut this threaded section off and re-thread it. Wow. Alright, so I'm gonna try just drilling it out to 5 millimeters and then tapping it for an M6, and it's tapped for an M5. So yeah, I'll drill it to 5 millimeters, tap it. Hopefully this is strong enough to hold it while I tap it, but probably not. If it doesn't work, then yeah, not much else I can do. I don't think you can really take these apart. I see a ring, like a snap ring in there, but I think there's like a cable or something that pulls it all together. I'm not really sure. I guess I'll try tapping it. If it doesn't work, then we'll get into having to take it apart. All right, got it drilled, got it tapped, barely. It started twisting as I got towards the bottom, but I've got, I think, plenty of threads in there. And then I cut off the end that was M5, turned it down to 6 millimeters and tapped it for M6. And now we have actually got functioning threads. So I'm just gonna Loctite the bejeebus out of this, and we should be good to go. All right, so got her all hooked up. I put just water in for now because I'm going out of town tomorrow and didn't want to leave coolant and crap in here before I have the chance to like use it and then check it the next day. But for now, let's go ahead and I've got the regulator turned down to like 25 PSI. Turn our coolant on. And, oh yeah, there's the water going. Oh, that's a lot of water actually. Just want to get the air bubbles out. Okay. So right now, I've got this turned all the way down, so it's just air. And then, let's see. Oh, there's some water. I'll probably run it like right there, but you can go way up, or basically just air. And that's, right now it's just air, and that's 25 PSI, and that would be, like, that's plenty to blow the chips away, so I don't know what people were talking about. I'll even turn it down more than that. So right now, we're at 20-ish PSI. Let's go down to like 10. So that's almost 10. Oh yeah, that's probably about where I'll run it. And then just a tiny, tiny bit of water. See the water driving up? Just a teeny bit of water. I think that'll be plenty. Sweet. Well, that's it. Yeah, waiting for I couldn't figure out how to reorient the screen. So, like, I know how to do it from here, but it doesn't save. it won't save in landscape mode. So every time I turn the machine on, I have to go in, type admin, display, and then reorient it to normal. I have no idea how I got it to save in portrait mode, but this isn't even the right portrait mode. If you go into settings, you click portrait, and then it puts this as the whole top section, but I could not, and that's all I did before. But now it's like saved in landscape mode, and no matter what I do, I can't get it to save, or sorry, it's saved in portrait mode, and I can't get it to save in landscape mode again, so I have to manually, but once the new screen gets here, it'll be good. That's why I haven't spent too much time trying to fix it, but yeah, it is kind of annoying that like I did exactly what I did to turn it into landscape mode or portrait mode, and I redid it exactly the same way to turn it back into landscape mode, but it's stuck. Every time it restarts, it starts back up in portrait. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but it should be all good once the second new screen gets here. All right, thanks for watching. See you later.